It's the type of energy that is up here. It's become relatable to say to people, I'm so tired today. Now I know we all love a good gossip. Hi everyone, my name is Gigi and welcome back to my channel. One thing a lot of people don't realize when they're going through their self-development journey is how much of your energy is being drained by what you do. Now I'm not talking exercising, doing a really heavy day at the gym, or getting 20,000 steps in one day. I'm not talking about being at work all day, 12-hour shifts. I'm talking about the small things that you're doing every single day that's draining your mental energy. I'm sure you've felt it, I definitely have, and I know a lot of people around me have, because I've heard it so often online in TikToks and YouTube videos. I've had friends tell me about it, family members tell me about it, and I've experienced it myself. The feeling of you've barely done anything in a day, but you're exhausted. You've not had a long day, you've had 12, 8, whatever amount of hours sleep, but you still feel so incredibly tired. Your parents will call you lazy and you'll start to believe it because you don't understand how you can do so little physically but feel so incredibly tired. But that is not laziness. It's not simply being weaker than other people. That's your mental energy being drained by what you do on a daily basis. If you imagine it, you wake up and you already feel tired. You've had enough sleep, the recommended amount, but you're still tired. That's because this energy, this lack of energy that you feel isn't physical energy. It's not the thing that pushes you through a heavy day at the gym or allows you to leave the house and go to work every day. It's the type of energy that is up here. The mental energy that allows you to feel mentally ready for those things. Feel like you can control your emotions, that you can hype yourself up. And if you have none of that energy, if you're already drained before you've even opened your eyes for the day, you're going to feel exhausted before it's even started. And as the day goes on, you'll find yourself getting really annoyed at the tiniest of things. You drop something on the floor and it's not just a little inconvenience, it's the biggest inconvenience. You've not just accidentally spelt a word wrong as you're writing, but it's the cherry on top of the cake for the whole rest of the day. But it has become normalized to feel this way. In fact, so many of us feel this way all the time that we don't know what it's like not to feel like that. It's become relatable to say to people, I'm so tired today. I have no energy. I have nothing in me. I'm just so tired all the time. And the person you're talking to will be like, oh my God, same. I also feel like that. I mean, I sleep so much. It doesn't matter what I do. I have so much caffeine, but I just feel so emotionally tired. That is because what you're doing is draining you. Now, it might be your job. It might be the people that you're around, but it could also be the small little things that you're doing in your daily routines that you don't even think about, but it's actually stealing so much of that energy that you need for more important things that by the time you get to those important things, like getting ready for work, getting up in the morning, being social, you have nothing left. The first thing that you do, and probably one of the biggest ones, is overthinking. A lot of people don't realize it, but your brain is constantly going. If you're someone that overthinks, which I used to be and still do sometimes, you will know how absolutely exhausting it is to constantly be thinking about everything all the time. You have a doctor's appointment at 2. For the entire morning, you'll be thinking about every possibility that could happen at that doctor's appointment. What is the doctor going to say? How am I going to get there? Are they going to ask me to do this? Are they going to ask me to do that? And it is going around and around your head, sometimes completely subconsciously. Maybe you're not even anxious about it, but your head is still going crazy. And then after that, you're thinking, did I say something stupid? Did the doctor think I was lying about it? And those thoughts are going around and around and around. How mentally exhausting is that? Yes, it's keeping you busy. It's keeping yourself entertained. You simply cannot be bored if you are constantly thinking about something. But when you're constantly thinking, imagining every single scenario that one situation could happen, you're not giving yourself time to breathe, to relax, to chill out. It's like your brain is running a marathon over and over and over again. It's not productive. You're not solving anything. You're simply letting your brain go wild trying to find answers. Sometimes there isn't an answer. And by the end of the day, you can't sleep because sleeping is impossible when you're still going wild in your head. And when you finally get to sleep, by the time you've woken up in the morning, you feel like you've not even had a sleep. Like those right amount of hours aren't right for you, because you've exhausted yourself so much simply by thinking about every outcome possible. You've completely emotionally and mentally exhausted yourself. Overthinking isn't the answer. And I know that a lot of people right now are probably thinking, well, how do I stop doing that? It's so ingrained. I'm an overthinker. First of all, stop calling yourself an overthinker. Of course, you will be an overthinker if you say that you are an overthinker. And second of all, as soon as you start spiraling down, as soon as you start thinking about everything, what if this happens? What if that happens? Stop yourself. Literally, as you're sitting there or standing there and you're thinking, and what if this happens and what if that happens? Stop yourself and ask yourself, is this actually helping me solve this issue? Is this something that actually needs to be solved? For example, our doctor's appointment. Do you really need to think about every possible outcome? Is it making you feel better? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize that it's making you more anxious for that situation. It's making you feel worse about doing something. It's making you not want to do something at all because you freaked yourself out. The more you stop yourself, the more you call yourself out about that behavior, the more you'll recorrect yourself. You'll find yourself diverting from that spiral. The second one, which has become more and more common these days, is social media. Simply by picking up your phone, opening it, boom, social media. It's constantly there. It's so easy to access, and there's so much content. You might not even realize it, but in a day, you would have seen hundreds, thousands of posts. So many different people with so many different lives saying so many different things. On top of that, you have news broadcasts. Things that you used to only see if you turned on a certain channel on the TV or picked up a newspaper, you're now seeing simply by scrolling. Without choosing to, you're taking in all of this information all of the time. Most of us have got screen times over 10 hours per day. 10 hours of receiving information. 10 hours of playing with your emotions. Feeding into whatever fears you have, whatever insecurities you have, whatever you need to retain. Even things that you don't actually need to retain, you're retaining. And all of that stimulation, that thinking, that receiving is exhausting you. Social media is draining your energy. This is why it's so important to give yourself limits. Because we all know how easy it is to scroll on TikTok for hours because it's so easy to scroll. You simply, and there's a new video, and a new video, and a new video. So instead, use the option on your phone that gives you time limits per app. You can set it yourself. Maybe give yourself more time at first and bit by bit reduce that time until it's like an hour a day. Maybe something like half an hour just to check what you need to check. Maybe you want to check the news. Maybe you want to check what your friends have posted, or maybe your favorite influencers. But you don't have time to constantly look at stuff and take in information because you have that limit. Once that limit is up, you can't access that app anymore. You can put your phone down. You can focus on what you need to focus on, and your energy won't be drained on random things that you didn't even need to see. The third thing is gossiping. Now I know we all love a good gossip. We all love to know what's going on with other people. It's human nature to be really nosy. But when you realize how much of that energy is being drained because you're so invested in other people, you will want to immediately stop. It feels like you're bonding. You're connecting with people because you're reacting to other people's lives. You're shocked someone did something. You're excited for someone else's adventures, announcements. But that's not your life. In fact, a lot of the time, gossip has literally nothing to do with you. You're simply just enjoying it because you're reacting to it. It's entertainment. Something similar to scrolling on social media. You're taking in people's lives, you're reacting to it, and you're retaining that information. It's stimulating your brain. But at the end of the day, when you're exhausted, You feel like you have so much going on in your brain that you can't sleep, but you're so incredibly tired because of how much you've took in. You'll realize that gossiping isn't worth it. You don't need gossip in your life. You don't need the drama, the theatrics. If you want to be the better version of yourself, you need to focus on you. Because that energy that you've spent being gossiped to or being a gossip is energy that you can put into yourself. Doing things, healing yourself, practicing good habits and behaviors that will actually better you is so much more worth it than simply knowing what's going on in someone's life behind their backs. Can you imagine if you put all that energy that you've wasted on social media and gossiping and overthinking and people pleasing into you? But that energy isn't getting away from you, but you've been putting it into yourself, bettering yourself, fueling yourself. Can you imagine how far you would be on your journey if you just focused on you? The next biggest thing that is exhausting you is people pleasing. I know we all want to make friends. We don't want to stand out. We don't want to cause problems. But the more you say yes to things, the more you do things that you don't want to do simply for other people, their approval, their friendship, their likeness. The more you apologize for being simply you. The more effort you put into other people just to simply be liked, the more exhausted you will become. It sounds selfish, and again, I don't think being selfish is a bad thing in a lot of situations, but this situation especially, being selfish is not evil. I cannot tell you how mentally exhausted I used to be when I was so focused on making sure everyone else was okay. Even when I was so exhausted to the point that I literally used to go home and do nothing. I would sit in the dark, lie in bed, do nothing. I would still choose to go out with a friend, get drinks with a friend, listen to what's going on in their life, try and help them with their issues, even though I was so exhausted, simply because I thought if I didn't, I would be a bad friend. People pleasing to that extent is exhausting. And it might sound selfish to you, but I promise you, the sooner you stop trying to prove yourself to everyone, be the friend that you think you need to be, you will realize that that pressure immediately lifted off of your shoulders. The next one is constantly comparing yourself to people. Now this one comes along quite nicely with social media and also people pleasing. But if you're constantly comparing every little thing that you do to everyone else around you, and especially with social media, that everyone around you is thousands of people, the entire world that's connected through social media, you will become exhausted in your life. If everything you do is centered around, is this good enough compared to this? Do I look good enough compared to her? If you live your life constantly through comparison, it's like you're constantly running a race. Who's gonna get to the finish line first? Who's gonna do better? Who's smarter? Who's prettier? You will constantly feel like you're trying to catch up to people, trying to win the race. You're constantly running. Now imagine how demanding that is physically if you've been running for years and years non-stop. Now imagine that exhaustion all up here, all in your brain. Mentally, emotionally, constantly comparing yourself is the reason why at the end of the day you feel like you've done nothing, but you're exhausted. Feel like you've done stuff, but it's not good enough. Like all of your effort has come to nothing. The more you start doing stuff just because you want to do it, you want to achieve it, because you want to be the better version of yourself, suddenly you're not racing anymore. You're strolling down the beach. It's sunset, it's warm, there's a slight breeze. You're no longer in a race. You're simply strolling to your next spot. So now you're probably thinking, well, yes, I've identified all of these things in my daily life that is stealing my energy, that is making me exhausted. But what do I do instead? If you've already identified where that energy is going, social media, sitting on your phone, constantly pleasing people and going out all the time to see people, suddenly you might feel a little bit lost when you stop doing those things. What do I do if I don't have my phone in my hand? What do I do if I'm not meeting up with people and seeing my friends or talking to them all the time? This is your chance to invest that energy into yourself. Ask yourself, What do you want to do today? What do you want to achieve today? Focus on you. Do you need to clean your room, but you've been so focused on everything else and putting it off and procrastinating that you never did it? But now you have the time. Clean your environment. Maybe it's the whole house instead of just one room. It could also be things like investing in self-care. Now that you're not constantly putting yourself out of your way for other people, you can stay in the house, have a bath, do your skincare properly rather than rushing around. Or maybe it's booking a class. Could be something like a yoga class or meditation or a gym class of some sort. And rather than scrolling on social media all the time, you can put your phone down and finally think about you. What do you need to improve with yourself? Do you need to relax more? Do you need more confidence? Can you start using that energy that has been leaking for so long into other things simply on being the better version of yourself? Once you've realized that you're not lazy, that you have goals, you have ambitions, but you're simply allowing your energy to go into things that aren't the best for you, and then you can change that, your entire perspective will change. You're no longer struggling through life, feeling like you're crawling to get out of bed every day. You're living it, you're enjoying it, and you have the energy for yourself. Life doesn't feel difficult anymore. It feels like it's actually yours. That's all from me today. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to comment down below and I will try and get back to every single comment. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Bye.